famosa загревать. Мне холодно.
So if you wouldn't mind, please explain your reasoning for pursuing adoption.
We really didn't have one when it came up. We had been married for 7 years and we hadn't had children at that time, so a friend of ours in church told us about Sergey and we decided to pursue, and that's pretty much it.
And why the Ukraine?
That's just where he was. We didn't know a whole lot about it, and but he was kind of an internet phenomenon. He was very famous among the people that the adoption, like the online adoption community, and he had been, people tried to adopt him in the past, but for whatever reasons things just didn't happen, and so we got to know him really well because a lot of other people had already known him.
And then how did you feel about adopting a child with special needs?
I had no problem with it at all. My first question to my wife was, "Can I still take him fishing?" And she said yes. So that was, as long as I could do that, we would be good to go.
So how did you feel about having to travel to the Ukraine for an extended period of time?
Funny story. We left North Carolina, and by the time we got to JFK, it was all over the news that Russia had just invaded Ukraine. And we had our friends and family were calling us and telling us, "Don't go, don't go, don't go." And we were panicked, so we had just about an hour before we were supposed to board our next flight, and we went. We trusted God, and we went. And to have to stay there knowing that that was going on, we were there for a month and a half, and it was terrifying sometimes, because at points my wife and I had to be separated while she went and did one thing. She actually had to travel to Crimea, where the actual war was going on, just to get our son's birth certificate. So situations like that, the shooting had just happened less than 2 weeks before we actually got there. The shootings in downtown. So anywhere you went, there was tension, and people recognized Americans. You were very out of place if you weren't a Ukrainian at that point. So it was a little tense, a lot tense, would be a great way to say it.
So can you just describe the experience in general? I know you explained a little bit about the war and everything that was going on there, but maybe just in general, the visiting, the orphanage, and everything when you got there.
The people, as a people, the country, they were great. Everything about them, they were very accommodating. I don't think we met anyone that was mean to us, but like I said, the situation, everybody was just very aware of foreigners and outsiders. But the orphanage was 4 hours away from where we were staying, so we had to take a car because there was no other form of transportation out to where his orphanage is. Very rural area, and the people there treated us great. Everything was just a new experience for us and for him as well, I'm sure. But he often saw people come to the orphanage to adopt other children, so he saw people come and go. But for someone to come specifically for him, I'm sure that experience, it was just as awesome for him as it was for us.
Absolutely.
But the overall experience in the country was great.
So how old was Sergey when you guys adopted him?
We started when he was 15, but it took close to a year just to do paperwork. So before we could travel, we started in probably March or April of 13, and we weren't able to travel until March of 14. So, and then we came in, it was a month and a half after that, and we came home April 12th.
So is the paperwork more government-related side of the paperwork?
For both countries.
Okay.
Because everything that went, the dossier that went to the Ukraine, everything had to be notarized by officials of Raleigh, North Carolina, the United States, from all over the country. We had paperwork coming from Texas, other states. It was just amazing. It was about 1.5 inches of paper that we had to get and just to mail over there. So was pretty extensive.
So now that he's here, you know, and he's been here for a couple of years, what do you feel, you know, your vision of his future is?
Oh, freedom. I mean, imagine being, I can't imagine being in the same four walls for 16 years and not experiencing what most of the rest of the world gets to experience. So now it's like there's nothing in this world that he can't do, because now he has the opportunity, just like every child should, the opportunity to have a family that loves him, to go to school, to have just everything. So he's free to do whatever he wants, and that's what I hope that he shoots for.